Hey everybody, I'm here at the MSNOW studios. I just jumped off set with our Bulwark gal, Catherine Rampell, and everybody else on the weekend crowd. And we were talking about the Zoran Trump bromance meeting. Marjorie Taylor Green deciding that she's going to leave Congress, as well as some Epstein Files stuff. And, there's only one thing I didn't want to get to, that I wasn't able to get to, rather, that I wanted to add for you guys with the Trump-Zoran meeting. I think that there was a lot there that was predictable. The way that Zoran handled that, I think, was very strong. I don't know that I would have liked it if it was a Democratic 2028 person, but as a mayor of New York who needs to work with Trump and who has his own juice right now, I think what Zoran did made a lot of sense strategically. And I get into some more on the show about what I think Zoran got out of this meeting, rather, that was really useful for him. But the one thing that did bug me was that Trump makes this joke that says, go ahead, you can call me a fascist. It's fine. And they laugh, and, it's like a big ha ha ha. And I don't want to be the clutching pearls guy, but it's like, in our country, our system of government actually matters. And the fact that we are a republic, the oldest running democracy in the world, is something that is important and meaningful. It's meaningful to people throughout the world. It's meaningful to people in our country. And to just joke about it and just be like, hey, I'm a fascist, ha ha ha. The mayor of New York can call me a fascist. It's no big deal. To me, that sends a bad sign. It sends a bad sign to the world. And it makes the whole thing feel fake, right? It makes our whole system of government feel fake, and I think it contributes to the lack of trust about what's happening, and it makes everybody think that we're just playing pretend, and this is just a big reality TV show, and there's not actually any weight to the system of government. There's not any meaning to it. So anyway, sorry to get a little heavy for you. Stick around. Your girl Catherine Rampell is with me. She's on here on the weekend every weekend night on MS Now, and I'll be back in my Pinto Beans chair on Monday with Bill Kristol. See you all then.
Let's start with the Trump-Mamdani meeting, which I know shocked some people on both sides of the political spectrum. Oh, Elise has some. Take a look at this.
So this is quite a turn of events when it comes to the New York Post. It's not a sickle like they had up on another Mamdani cover. Now they're trying to feel out which direction they go.
It's more of a meet cute.
But are we so surprised that two guys from Queens kind of got together and got along here? I mean, for me, I wasn't shocked by this for a few reasons. The first is Donald Trump loves winners. He likes to be around other stars, people who he perceives as sort of being central casting. Zoran Mamdani certainly fits that bill, is top billing right now in terms of the national conversation. And then I think he sees some of himself in Mamdani, this underdog thing, you were this sort of little-known assemblyman from Queens, and now look at you here. You've proven all these haters wrong. That's sort of how Trump likes to think of himself.
Trump also wants to be liked. And I was reading an old magazine profile of him over the weekend from the first term, where they're trying to understand what was happening with his first crazy cabinet round. And one insider said to the reporters, you don't understand, he's a real estate guy. He wants to be liked. It's hard, I think, for some people to understand because he seems so unlikable in so many ways. But interpersonally, you hear this often when people go meet him. Now, that breaks if you don't tell him what he wants to hear, right? And I think that the Oval Office meeting could have exploded like the Zelensky one did, because Zelensky was telling them something that he didn't want to hear, right? But Zoran had no reason to do that, on the first day. And so I think that's, before he's even taken over. That obviously might change if he starts sending ICE officials into the city, et cetera. I don't think that this bromance, or whatever we're calling it, is going to last forever. Right. But I think that makes sense. The one thing that I would caution a little bit, I saw some on the left doing the shtick about, that was alluding to your populist thing, saying look, this could be what it looks like. Yeah. When it's working class politics on the left and right uniting, and it's up, down versus up, and it's working class versus the elites. And I was like, okay, all right, let's dial it.
Actually believe.
Yeah, let's dial it back. Mamdani got one other substantive thing out of this, I would say, which is there was discussion among rich New Yorkers and among Jewish New Yorkers that maybe we might have to leave the city after this because of the kind of scaremongering that's going on about Mamdani, or in some cases maybe legitimate concerns about the increase in taxes taxes or whatever might be coming. That Trump was asked that question, and Trump said, "No, I'd stay in New York." And that really, we talk about defanging. That really takes the teeth out of that hit on Mamdani. Like, you sound kind of ridiculous now. You know, like the Barstool guy was saying that he's thinking about moving Barstool out of New York. Now you sound kind of ridiculous if you're like, I'm running scared from Mamdani in New York after Donald Trump said he would have stayed.
You look at what just happened to Marjorie Taylor Green. And so now he's bringing in to the Oval and just couldn't be more conciliatory and laudatory to his former foe, who he called a communist, and then Marjorie Taylor Green, who really was his strongest advocate for so long, banished, done.
Is she done?
Quick.
Is she done, Tim?
Is Marjorie Taylor Green done? I hate, this is not good punditing, but I don't know what the heck is going on with Marjorie Taylor Green. It's hard to fathom, because she just beat Trump. She just kind of brought Trump to heel on this big Epstein fight. I think that she obviously, I don't think that she was a threat from a Trump primary in her district, so she could have stayed. I think that there were some right-leaning media types that were floating her for 2028. So she was getting, even if she didn't want to do that, she was getting buzz. So why leave? The only thing that I can think of, and I was texting Robert Draper, who does a great profile on her today for the New York Times, and he was saying that he thinks that she is really genuinely concerned about safety. And I do think that there are a lot of threats. And you look at this trend you've seen of Republicans who stand up to Trump, then get a lot of threats, and then decide, this isn't really worth it. I'm going to move. I'm going to, step off the stage. And we've seen a bunch of those examples over the last 10 years now. So it could be something as simple as that. Maybe she has a second act planned, though. It's hard for me to get inside her head.
So I'm going to float sort of a half-baked hypothesis.
Let's do it.
Which is, what if the reason why Marjorie Taylor Green had her awakening and why other QAnon people might be deprogrammed, if you will, is that she got to D.C. and realized the conspiracy theories cannot hold because people are too incompetent. It's like, in some ways it is a moderating it's a call to earth event, right? You come to D.C. and you realize maybe there aren't the space lasers.
I would have thought her experience with the Epstein fight would have only made her spiral.
But she won. She won.
She comes to DC and it's I don't want to spend any time with these people. We're not actually doing anything.
It also seems to me even if she is out of DC and sort of out of the picture for a while, although I really do think she is going to come back, whether she gets a podcast or she joins forces with someone at work.
She does. A little harder than it looks. Okay? Everybody says they can just start a podcast. All right, but let me tell you, it's a grind.
You have one of those?
I have one. It's a grind out there. All right, and the water's warm. We welcome more people into the fold, but not a lot of successful.
She may be beating you in the rankings in a few months.
We'll see. Candace is beating me, so that that happens.
Wow. Well,
the House of Representatives, the Republican advantage was so slight already they could barely do anything, and the Republicans have done basically nothing in the House this year, and they passed the one big tax bill, and that's about it. And now they just finally belatedly voted on the discharge petition to release the Epstein Files. So I think that is very meaningful as far as whether they'll be able to. I don't think that there's enough in the special elections on the table, and those in the red states are going to be pretty tough for the Democrats, and they're pretty deep red seats. I don't think there's enough in there for the Democrats to actually take the House back before next November. But I do think it means that we're going to look at basically what we've been seeing, which is not much from Congress, and a unitary executive, Donald Trump, kind of doing what he wants, and Mike Johnson just sort of, the House hasn't even been in session for 2 months. The one thing that I'm going to miss most about the Marjorie Taylor Green thing, the thing that makes me the most upset, is she was the first person, and it happened for 3 weeks, to offer, whether she was genuine or not, a genuine right-wing populist critique of Trump from within the party, right? Saying that, not going at him because, he breaks norms, or the stuff that the former never Trumpers do, right? Going after him and saying, no, actually, your voters want more want more government health care. Your voters are unhappy that you're spending this money bombing boats in the Caribbean when you should be spending that supporting public, works programs in the states. She was starting to offer that critique, and I'm curious if that critique could work, because nobody's ever really tried it within the Republican Party. Everybody does. They say they're being populist, but when they say populist on the right, it's mostly right-wing culture war stuff with some populist rhetoric. She was offering like a policy program that would match the populist rhetoric. And I think that could possibly work.
The countdown for the Justice Department to release the Epstein Files has begun with a fast approaching deadline of December 19th. Now, it is still unclear exactly when and how these files could be released, but Democrats on the House Oversight Committee are already concerned that the DOJ could use a provision in the Epstein Files Transparency Act to redact or withhold documents from Congress.
I really don't understand why there would be a lot of redactions. Why does the word classified keep even coming up? You're raising your eyebrows. It's like Jeffrey Epstein was a private citizen.
They care so much about classification, this Trump.
Yeah, the Trump.
Really
just put it on Signal, and then it's all
concerned about it, right? Because they moved Maxwell. They're clearly protecting someone and something, right?
And he was a private citizen, but certainly had a whole lot of contact with non-private citizens.
Right.
Sure, I guess, but I don't. Why would he have a lot of classified information in his emails?
Well, he wouldn't.
No, I think it's about governments.
Yeah, it's what they can cover up.
I think it's about.
But that's redacting. So those are two separate things. But they do keep bringing up like, there's going to have to be some redactions because of protecting victims. And I think one of the other big questions about redactions is like for a while they were trying to redact so they didn't want potential perps to be smeared.
Yeah.
Right. But I think that fight has been kind of lost. But who knows, right? Like who knows what the DOJ will decide to do? They might decide to just selectively protect, friends of the president. So I think all of that stuff will be, worth looking at. But I think that there are more questions than answers about what will be in the file.
So this is what I keep coming back to. Will there ever be an end to this? Like, is there any release that would satiate the mobs who have been following the? I mean, I forget the victims who like actually want justice by having the men who abuse them be arrested and held accountable. I'm talking about like the people who are interested in like the lurid conspiracy theories. Sure. Like, is there anything that will?
Probably not. But look, I think that there are some things that could make it. That could tamp it down. Like, right, for example, the notion that there are all these victims and that the only people that were complicit in this were Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, and maybe former Prince Andrew. Like, it's crazy. Again, and nobody believes that, and nobody believes it to be true. So if the next round of files comes out, and once again, it's like, oh, well, we looked into it, and it was just Jeffrey and Ghislaine doing all this, then people will keep having questions, right? Like, if there are obvious redactions of things related to Trump or friends of Trump, people continue to have questions. So I think it kind of depends on this, but I don't know. I was watching, just for one sense, this Tim Dillon's podcast, kind of a right-wing comedian podcaster, and he was like going off on this just this weekend, where it's just like, this is crazy. Like, there's no way that they're going to give us all this stuff, and so you can already sense the next round of the non-conspiracy bubbling up, right? Like this the notion that we need to see more. Hey, so Julie K. Brown does the Miami Herald the big takedown on Epstein that leads to his second arrest. Summers is emailing Epstein asking for dating advice after that Miami Herald article comes out. It's like that is an atrocity. Yeah. It's depraved.
Do you think that this actually did get a blow to Donald Trump's political fortunes among the MAGA crowd?
Yes, for the reason that Basil just said. Because I think it combined, there was this storm of things that was happening that showed that Donald Trump was on the side of rich elites and not on the side of the regular people. And I think that the Epstein Files was one of them. I think that the shutdown fight was one of them, where he didn't want to, negotiate it all on the Obamacare subsidies. And then he's simultaneously throwing the Great Gatsby parties. He's having the rich tech guys at the White House. I think all those things together did hurt him a little bit with the base.
Yeah, it's interesting that the piece of all of this that might have hurt Trump the most is not so much the palling around with the sexual predator, and maybe more he's an elite, he's not one of the people, which shouldn't be surprising for a whole host of reasons. But Tim Miller, Basil Smykel, thank you so much for joining us.